You know who I'd love to hear talk about that? Tiny blue anthropologist.
I have been summoned.
This is my intro music. Welcome to the video. I hope you like it lots, so don't forget to subscribe and click the thumbs up button. Now let's react.
Hey guys, I just wanted to let you guys know that I just got out of the shower. And I know that there's been some people who've been talking about me on the internet lately, and I just felt like I needed to get my story out there because I feel like I've been being silenced by my own inactivity. And though I have no one but myself to blame, I feel like I need to target a few people in order to make myself feel better about the fact that I myself have been preventing myself from speaking out about certain things, even though I have my own channel where I do nothing but talk. And it is my own content that I myself create and edit and post. I mean, I still feel like I'm somehow being silenced by people who have no control over my channel in any way, shape, or form, but I am being silenced, and I feel like it is time that I use my platform that reaches lots of people in order to talk over other people who may or may not have valid points about things that I disagree with or stuff. So, yeah. So I'm going to do that now. And we're going to start with Rachel, who totally called me out in her last video. Thanks. No, but for real. Hey, hi, hello there, and welcome to another episode of An Anthropologist Watches Other Reactors React to People That I React to. And I was going to, honestly, this is the funny part about this whole thing. I was actually going to react to this video from Rachel because Rachel is in this video talking about she's talking about both the Beck and Destiny. Why? A mental block with her name. The Beck and Destiny conversation and Amber's response to said conversation. And I wanted to go over that anyway, but then Rachel did her take on it. And I was like, you know what I haven't done in a while is react to other reactors. Because there are certain people who do reactions that I enjoy having a conversation with. Rachel's one of them. Colin's another one. I like doing it with Sam as well. I've kind of started doing it with Chikara, sort of. Not as much, but I do kind of with Chikara as well. But there are just certain people that I enjoy watching, and then I hear their stuff, and I like reacting to their content because I feel like there are things that they are saying that I want to add my 10 cents yes to. But also I don't it's not that I disagree. I just feel like there's a conversation to be had around certain points that they are making. I did actually just get out of the shower, so there is that. Hopefully my hair will dry in the amount of time it takes to film this video. Whatever. What do you want from me? I'm clean. I will note that the neon yellow and or green yarn is back. Good job. Good job. We approve. It has been a hot minute since I've watched one of Rachel's videos, and it hasn't been for any particular reason. I just haven't gotten around to it. Honest to God, if Colin hadn't taken that long ass break that he took, I would probably be behind on Colin's videos too. So I'm just behind on a lot of things. But I did put out a sit down talk video about how, you know, the stuff in the Amberverse is just getting. Okay, look, the stuff in the Amberverse is just getting stupid. Okay, let's just be honest. I was watching You Guys Have to Realize, because he just put one out, And he's actually the one that got me thinking about doing more reactions to reactors again, because he was talking about how he was talking. I'll have to actually do a reaction to his one too. I'm using my good English today. But he was basically talking about how he didn't really care about any of the content that was out right now. Like he's like, oh my god, all the girls are fighting, blah, I don't really care. And I was kind of like, yeah, I kind of feel that, honestly. And he's like, yeah, I get it. We all like drama. We're humans. We like the drama. And he's not wrong. We do. Like, humans, we do like it. When you tell a story, you guys always ask, what the hell's anthropology got to do with shit? Well, one of the first things anthropologists study is stories. So sit down, have a moment. One of the key elements of storytelling or things like that when we're passing down knowledge is we have to make it interesting, right? And there are certain key elements in stories that will guarantee if a story is interesting or not. And one of those things is drama, right? If you make it dramatic, people are more interested in the story. Like if I just sit here and I just tell you, oh yeah, it's this morning, I got up and I set the boiler on so that I could have some water so I could make my tea today. And I made sure to measure out 1 tablespoon of tea because that's how much I need to make 1 cup of tea. And then I carefully measured out my water because I didn't really want to have too much water because I didn't want to make too much tea and because I wasn't going to drink all of it. So I didn't want to waste water. Are you bored yet? So, but the thing is with the drama, the problem is we do have fatigue. Humans will have fatigue, and you'll hear people talk about emotional fatigue. You hear this a lot when people are talking around things like traumatic issues or just like, well, a lot. You hear people talk about it a lot with today's political environment right now. A lot of people have political fatigue or emotional fatigue around the political environment. And it's just because it's so constant, it's so ongoing, that kind of thing. The drama world, this being a drama world, will also have the same thing, right? Some of us will just start to suffer drama fatigue. It's the same shit. It's just Monday, right? Yeah, the girls are fighting. Yeah, Amber's not a great person. Yeah, her exes hate her. Okay. And the new information is, that's kind of where I'm at with this. And it's just like, okay. I mean, I don't have a way of making it more interesting to you guys. I don't have a lot to add until I do. And then I feel like, that's worth making a video on. And that's kind of where the guy from You Have to Realize was saying, he's like, when there's something worth reacting to, I will react to it. And right now, he doesn't feel like any of this stuff is worth reacting to. And that's his decision on his channel to make. Just like I and Rachel both have our own decisions to make as to what we view as being reaction worthy, right? But I have chosen, I put my video out and I'm like, I'm not going to be talking about certain things because, well, for one, they're gross. And for two, Rachel brings up a point in this video about ableism. And I don't usually talk about isms in my videos because I feel like it's a form of weaponization of language a lot of times, and it's a way to shut people down in conversation. But the reason these words exist is because it is a real thing that can actually happen. And so we will talk about ableism when it comes up because there is a conversation to be had. So there is that. How deep we go into exactly Wipegate is a whole other that we'll get to that. We will cross that bridge when we get to it because that's a whole other thing. We're not talking details, I guess, is where I'm going with that conversation. But watching Rachel's video really got me thinking about certain things. And as usual, Rachel's got a really good video. She doesn't need me shouting her out. She's got plenty of views, very large channel. Congratulations. She just hit 30K. Deserves it 100%. She does also put chapters in her videos, which I saw somebody they told me they loved me and then criticized me for not putting chapters in. I get you guys. I know you guys want chapters on the one hand. On the other hand, I'm like, here's the thing. I will try to start putting chapters in my videos. It's an extra step that is annoying for me, and so I will try to remember to do it. I will not be perfect at it. The problem I'm having though is a lot of you want to skip the beginning of the video and you just want to skip to where I'm reacting. And the issue I have with that is the beginning of the video is where I'm kind of laying out the argument, showing you guys where my biases are, letting you know what to expect going into the video. And if you're not watching that part of the video, I've noticed, because I can tell, you guys will get to a part in the video where I will say something or we'll go over a topic or something will occur and you guys will jump my shit for something, or you'll be like, why didn't you talk about? And it's like, well, if you listen to the first part of the video, you would know why. And I don't have the time to keep continuously answering the same question that I'd already answered if you'd watched the first part of the video. So that's my thing about putting the timestamp in for that. But at the same time, I know that there's some people who just, for whatever reason, don't want to listen to the beginning of the video. They just want to watch me react. Cool, I guess. I mean, you're still watching the video, so whatevs. But I will try to start remembering to put timestamps into the videos from here on out. I don't know what I'm going to call them. Probably just reaction starts here. However, with Rachel's video, sorry, I do have a bit of a cold coming on, so this should be fun. Because I have multiple videos I want to do today. Rachel's video, we're going to scroll down. Yeah, Rachel's video runs about 57 minutes long. She's got everything all nice and broken up. We're probably not going to go over every single part of the video because Rachel puts together a very nice video and I talk a lot. I mean, I guess if you guys are here for an extremely long video, that's fine. But again, I don't necessarily know if I want to talk about Amber's hair. I don't know if I necessarily want to talk about the married women. I mean, we can gloss over it pretty quick. She does make a very interesting conversation. She does make a very interesting observation about Amber being desperate for love. The financials I do want to talk about. The poem, we might touch on that real fast. It's only 2 minutes because it's really just a real quick thing. I don't know if we really need to talk about the pregnancy thing. Beck's injury was interesting because there are, again, 2 stories there. I don't care that Amber finds Destiny unattractive because we all know that's a goddamn lie. Anyway. And then she does start, Rachel reads some of the comments from the Destiny and the Beck video. So, that's around where Rachel calls me out. But yeah, but that's around where we could we can look at some of those and definitely talk about some of those. Rachel does link the videos, the conversation with Destiny, that's Beck's video. She also links all 3 of Amberlynn's lives. These are public lives. Were they public lives? Yes, they were. They were public lives. Was she drinking in these? I can't remember. I think she was drinking White Claws, but I don't think she actually got like drunk Lynn. I think she just got angry Lynn, and she happened to also be drinking at the same time. But anyway, I will try to remember to link the conversation with Destiny down below. The live, Amber couldn't figure out how to stream that night, so that one was kind of chopped up. And what was that? Yeah, the 3rd time she got the video going, I was like, dude, if you can't fucking get your shit together, I'm not watching anymore. Because she starts really late for me and she runs really late for me. So, for me. But anyway. All right, so I don't have any cough drops. It's going to be a painful set of videos. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to speed Rachel up. She has a lovely accent, but when I speed it up, it tends to get muddled. Let me speed her up. Let's do this. Let me speed her up. time and a quarter, but let me also put the subtitles on. That seems to help. If you don't follow Rachel and you do like Girl World and that kind of drama related stuff with a very intellectual twist. Rachel is a philosopher. She has a background in philosophy, and I believe her focus is rhetoric, which is very good to listen to. This is a great channel, and you should definitely, can't recommend it more. But anyway, not just because she calls me out, but because I like this channel. So, all right, I've sped her up. We're going to have the subtitles on. If she's still going too fast, I will slow her back down, but we'll leave the subtitles on. You know who she reminds me of, though? And I hope this isn't taken the wrong way. There used to be a cooking show with a woman named Nigella Lawson, who that's what she did. She would just cook, right? And she had like the most scrumptious recipes. Just the way she would shoot her cooking show was just like the most like warm, cozy, like, I don't know how to explain it. It was like you were living inside of a gooey bun, and it was just like the best kind of cooking show ever. She reminds me of Nigella Lawson, the lady who did the cooking show. But anyway, onward.
Hello. Things have
Hi.
popped off like crazy in Girl World over the past couple of days. We've had a video from Beck and Destiny, who are two of Amberlynn Reid's exes, where they've shown lots and lots of screenshots of messages and like drawn up a whole load of drama from that. And then Amber went on live last night, which for me was like 4 a.m. in the morning. I didn't watch it obviously because I was...
Oh yeah. So this video went up on March 21st. I don't know when exactly she recorded it. I'm going to guess from March 20th. Which means this probably went up. You're talking about the live from the 19th-ish. Actually, we can go find out. Let's click on this. Actually, no, we can just click on that. Bonk. Because Amber went live the same night that video went up.
It's locked. Hold on.
Hello, Caesar. How are you, darling? The 20th. Wow, how'd she do that? Dang. Good job, man. I need some people's editing skills. Like, I have an editor who does a fabulous job. Don't get me wrong. I'm not complaining about that at all. But, like, Snowflake, how the fuck does he get videos up so goddamn fast? But anyway, so Amber streamed on March 20th. Today is March 24th. So I am behind, but you know what? Is what it is. So yeah, so this video went up March 20th, 21st. Amber streamed on the 20th. And I'm just trying to give you guys a timeline so you know how far behind I am.
tucked up in bed, but Amber did go live and she did it in like 3 chunks, so the video was kind of erratic and all over the place. But the point is, I've watched all of those live streams. I did watch them on 2x speed, but I took notes while I was doing it. And I've also watched Beck and Destiny's video, and I'm basically going to go over what I think are the interesting things, the most important things. I would say if you're really interested in this stuff and you really want to know the specifics exactly of what was said, you can go and watch both of those videos. But I am basically going to show you what I thought was really interesting, and I am going to input clips and stuff of what people have said and show the screenshots and such. So this will be like an overview with kind of key points of what I think is interesting. And
I thought about doing this myself. I did listen to the whole thing from Beck and Destiny, and honestly, my opinion of the Beck and Destiny conversation, honestly, it just sounded like 2 exes talking about their ex, right? 2 mutual exes talking about their ex, and because that's what it was. The only really interesting thing that I took away from that whole thing was how different Destiny was treated compared to how Beck was treated. But again, none of that was like new information. It was just interesting to see the shift in the dynamic, because Amber was, and we already knew this, right? Amber treated Destiny much differently than she treated Beck, and this is not new information. What was very interesting to me was seeing Destiny's text replies to Amber compared to messages that Beck had shared in the past, or that Amber has shared between her and Beck, because Destiny is very dismissive of Amber, and I think that actually worked in Destiny's favor, because since Destiny withheld her attention and her affection from Amber, especially at key moments, that actually made Amber want Destiny more, if that made sense. And Beck did not do that. Beck tried to appease Amber. And because Beck was always available and always trying to appease, that actually devalued Beck in Amber's eyes. I'm not saying that devalues Beck in general, but you can definitely see in Amber's behavior towards Destiny and then towards Beck, because Destiny withdrew, and I don't even know if it was intentional or if it was just like, bitch, I'm not playing your game. Either way, because of the way Destiny handled Amber and handled Amber's temper tantrums and Amber's little fits, by just not playing the game, it actually made Amber want Destiny more, right? Whereas Beck tried to appease, tried to keep the peace, tried to make Amber happy. And because Amber knew she could get Beck to do whatever she wanted, or at least almost anything she wanted, that devalued Beck, right? And I think that's why it took Amber so long to get over Destiny, is because Destiny was the one that got away. Not in more ways than one, right? Because, like, I think Amber truly did, actually, as much as she ever loves anyone, I think Amber really did love Destiny. Because I think they matched personality-wise. I am not a Destiny fan. I've made that very clear. But I think they meshed a lot personality-wise, and just, like, I think they matched each other a lot. So I think that helped with the emotional closeness that Amber felt towards Destiny, in that aspect. But then also because Destiny always kept Amber kind of at arm's length. I mean, you can see that Destiny was kind of sort of, maybe not in a narcissistic kind of way, but Destiny was definitely kind of like love bombing Amber in the beginning, as you could see in the videos, right? We don't have Destiny's firsthand account. We have Amber's videos. So, but it did kind of seem like in the beginning, Destiny was way more attentive, way more nice and all that good stuff to Amber at the very beginning. And then as the relationship went on, you could definitely see it cooling off, right? So there's that. And since Destiny never really 100% caved with Amber, never 100% was like, oh my God, let me serve you hand and foot. Let me do every little thing for you. I think that's the other part of Destiny was the one that got away, because Amber never fully had control over Destiny, right? Destiny was the relationship in between Casey and Beck, right? So Amber's coming out of a relationship with a very young Casey, who she had damn near complete control over, because she had complete control over. Like, it was an abusive relationship, let me put it that way. And YouTube can come after me if they want, I don't give a shit. So we get into Destiny, who Destiny wasn't as easily controlled and manipulated as Casey had been. And Destiny's the one that not only breaks the relationship off with Amber, but cheats on Amber in the process. But then we go into Beck. Beck's the next relationship after that. And Beck is another partner who is easily manipulated, easily controlled, and Amber then has total control over the relationship again. So Destiny's that one blip in between where Amber doesn't have total control over the relationship, right? So there's that. You even see it, we'll talk about it here in the video, but you even see it in Amber's texts towards Destiny later on, where she's even trying to control Destiny with the finances, financially. I gave you money for this and you didn't even do that. So that kind of a thing. So that was, I think, the most interesting thing that really came out of that whole video for me. Otherwise, them talking and them sharing the screenshots and that kind of shit, it really was just, I mean, and it was probably very cathartic for the two of them to sit down and just have a bitch session. Don't get me wrong. I don't feel like it was something that the internet needed to be present for, kind of a thing, but here we are. So, but it does seem to be something that needs to be talked about, because it does add, and it's not because I need to talk about the video because of Beck and Destiny. I want to talk about the video because of Amber's response. Amber just decided to go get herself a brand new sharpened shovel and just go pick a whole new patch of ground. It was like, I'm gonna dig a new hole. So that's kind of why I'm interested in it. But anyway, let's get into this.
I've got notes, so if you see me looking over there, that's because I have notes. I'm trying to make this like as chatty as possible with as few cuts as I can, so it's kind of a bit easier for me to put up and I can get it up nice and quick, because as one of the phrases people like to use in T-World, the T-World, in Go World, the tea is piping hot, so let's talk about it.
That's why God invented thermoses.
Overview of the video that Destiny and Beck posted. Effectively, the kind of like style of the video is you can see Destiny, but you can't see Beck, and Destiny is talking.
I do think it's interesting that Beck has decided to come back with basically a faceless channel, and I think that's an interesting choice because it's not like we don't know what Beck looks like. But I do think it's interesting that Beck chose to do that. I think it's fine. I don't have a problem with faceless channels, unlike Amber. We will talk about the salty crab shit on another video, but so I do think that's kind of interesting. It does make this the juxtaposition a little weird, but I'm kind of glad one of them was at least animated, because it would have been strange otherwise, because, yeah, it was just a little weird. But I do think it's interesting that Beck, with the recreation of their channel, has chosen to be basically a faceless channel. But anyway, let's go.
Talking about all of the things that they experience. I actually don't know Destiny's pronoun. I think it's she, so I'm going to go with she. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. I think it is she. So anyway, yeah, so Destiny's talking about everything that she went through with Amberlynn, and she's basically showing screenshots. Now, the screenshots start from January 2017. In Amberlynn's recent live stream, she basically defends herself slightly against these. We're going to get into all of that. But Amberlynn Reid keeps saying it's stuff that happened 9 years ago.
Address the Beck and Destiny tea. Like, it was text messages from 9 years ago. So, like, I look at that and I'm like, okay. Like, that's kind of where I'm at with that. I'm like, okay.
And to be really, really specific, it wasn't 9 years ago, it was 8 years ago. When I first kind of watched Destiny and Beck's video, my initial response was to think, well, they're talking about stuff from a really long time ago. And in any other situation, with any other person of interest, so anyone other than Amberlynn Reid, I would be, I don't know, what's the word? I suppose I would be sympathetic to the argument that we shouldn't use old text messages to try and understand who somebody is now, right? Because people...
No, I think that's absolutely... maybe not absolutely is a bit strong, but no, I think you can totally use documentation from years past to at least get a glimpse of an individual in the current year, with some exceptions, right? I think the exception is, yeah, I think it's more an exception than it is a rule. I'm losing my own metaphor here. Give me a second. And I think it's interesting that Amber, she does this all the time, right? Oh my God, they're using text messages from like 9 years ago. Bitch, how old were the text messages you were using that you were trying to slander Beck with? That you were trying to slander Casey with? Okay. You know, Mrs. I don't have more than one phone. Oh, hang on a minute. Let me go get my other phone that I've kept since I was 18. Girl, stop. If it's okay for you to do it, it's okay for them to do it, Amber. I'm sorry. Amberlynn.
Change. However, the thing that I thought was really interesting is in the video with Beck and Destiny, we see that the way that Amber was acting then appears to be exactly the same way that Amber is acting now. So I'm going to get into that a little bit and kind of explain why I'm so, I don't know, I'm supportive of what Beck and Destiny have done for the most part, because although what they're showing is old stuff, I think it does give us a lot of insight on Amberlynn Reid now. And then Amber obviously responds, and some of what she says in that video gives us insight now. So we're going to cover all of that. Amber claims in her recent live stream that the video that Beck and Destiny made, because in that video, the evidence that they use are screenshots, that for some reason it's okay and acceptable as evidence when the screenshot comes from somebody else. But
this is really... I've always been like, yeah, no, duh. Like, Amber's like, why don't you guys accept my screenshots as evidence? Because I'm one of the first people to be like, your screenshot isn't evidence, Amber. And I never really, like, articulated why very well. Rachel really does hit this one really well.
But when the screenshot comes from Amber herself, she feels that people don't accept it as evidence.
Do you have any texts that make Beck look crazy too?
Crazy.
I'm sure I do.
Crazy.
Oh, and my whole thing is like, it's really funny. Like, so they, Amberlynn shows text messages and people are like, that's not receipts.
Because it's not half the time. And half the time it's not even receipts for the thing you're trying to prove. You're basically just proving what other people are saying about you.
They show texts. That's receipts. And I'm like, this is how I know. Like, there's nothing I can do to prove anything. And I'm kind of just like, okay.
I mean, I actually want to do a video where we just have a thought experiment where we sit down and we go, what if Amberlynn really is telling the truth? Like, what if Amberlynn is 100% telling the truth, right? That's a video for another time. But the issue here is the way the receipts are presented. Like text messages can be used as, if one would like, receipts. You can use them in a court of law as evidence, right? There are certain things that have to be attached to said receipts if you want them to be used, right? And I'm not going to be one of these people that's like, I must see the metadata in order for me to accept your your text messages as evidence, blah 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 blah, because this is YouTube and it's a drama channel, and when push comes to shove, it isn't that important, right? My life is not this is not my life. It kind of is, but it's not really, right? But there are certain ways that are accepted and expected in drama channels and in the drama communities at large, that you are expected to present screen captured information in order for it to be taken seriously. A lot of that comes down to, you need to have a name, you need to have a date, you need to have it not doctored in a way that make people go, is that AI? Well, now is that AI? You know, but it used to be, is that Photoshop? You know, you need to be able to have it look as unaltered as humanly possible, right? And excuse me, since Amber is this weird Luddite, this weird boomer Luddite mix, like, she makes me look like a tech, you know, genius over here. She ruins her own arguments, even if what she was showing us was actually the God's truth, like pure gospel. She screws it up in such a way that, like, there's no way to take it seriously. And she doesn't hear that when people tell her that. People are like, where's the date? Yeah, but seriously, why do you have somebody was like, why do you have half the screen blacked out? And she's like, well, because it's got private information. Why are you even showing it? This is like, this isn't how this works. That's not how you build a case. Even on the internet, there are certain evidence has to meet certain, like, marks for quality, or they're just not going to accept it. Amber can't seem to figure that out. Whereas the screenshots and the text messages that Beck and Destiny show do, and it's effortless, right? Maybe they are doctored. Maybe they are 100% made up. But if they are, they don't look it and they don't sound it, right? And that's the problem. Amber's shit sounds weird. Amber's shit looks weird. You know, it comes out of nowhere. It doesn't have dates. People's names are blocked out. I understand that when we're dealing with private DMs and that kind of stuff, you do want to give the other person on the other side some privacy. I personally don't think you should be using it if that's the case. I mean, if we know it's a conversation between you and Beck. But anyway, you need at least to have dates so that we, the audience, know what's going on. We need a timeline. The timeline is the most important part of any of this, right? Anyway.
Judge me on who I was 9 years ago, 5 years ago, even judge me on who I was yesterday.
Yes? Fastest prologue?
I'm too numb to care. I can't care anymore. And
I just want to cover that point right off the bat. So that is not accurate. What people have a problem with Amberlynn Reid is not the fact that she uses screenshots as evidence. It's the fact that she covers parts of the screenshots and then twists the phone and holds it up. She doesn't show a complete screenshot, and she kind of twists and manipulates the...
What is this, Amber? Why did in any part of your small Swiss cheese brain were you like, oh, this is evidence? Here you go, guys. Here, read this. See my screenshot? See the screenshot? See, wait. See my screenshot? See? Can you read that? Can you read this, guys? Can you read? See? You even read the time? Where in your head was that a good idea? Anyway.
way that the situation was in the screenshots, and she uses ones that don't back her point up to try and back up a point that she's not even making. So it's a mess, the whole thing, and that's why it's different when she does it versus when Beck and Destiny do it. In philosophy, there's lots of informal fallacies. You would have heard of them before. One of the most popular ones that happens the most is the straw man fallacy. Now, the straw man fallacy is basically where somebody makes a point to you, and then in your response to their point, rather than responding to what they've actually said, you recharacterize what they've said and you change it into a weaker, different argument, and then you argue against that argument that you've created. So you create like a straw man out of their argument, and then it's very easy to defeat a straw man is kind of the idea. So I feel like that's what Amber does in this live stream a lot. She takes something that somebody says, she twists it to mean something else, or she recharacterizes it and says, you said this, that's not what the person actually said. Then she beats that argument up, but that's not what the person ever really said. Amberlynn Reid is the queen of the straw man fallacy. I might do a whole video essay about it, but yeah.
I would actually like Rachel to do a video on fallacies, on the logical fallacies, because I am familiar with most of them because I used to do a lot with the skeptics community, and we used to use the whole fallacies as, you know, ways of destroying other people's arguments because we are so much more intelligent than everyone else. But I'm not like an authority on the fallacies, and there's a lot of like nuance with the different fallacies, and there's a lot of fallacies. There's some very, very common ones, which are the ones most people know, but there's a lot of different fallacies, and they're actually really fascinating once you really get into it. And since her background is in rhetoric, it would be, if she just wanted to do a video on just fallacies and not even like Amberlynn's fallacies, I would totally watch that shit. I would watch the hell out of that shit. But I think that would be an incredibly educational video, especially for the community, to have a fallacies video focused on Amber and some of the other girls in the girl world community. I think that would be a very worthwhile video to do. I'm sure it would be a very difficult, you know, like time-consuming, not difficult, but time-consuming video to put together. But I would be here for it. And I would definitely rewatch that on a live or something, because I feel like that's something that really, again, I think it would be very worthwhile to the community as a whole. But anyway,
it's really
me and my wish list over here.
Frustrating, and I feel like I needed to say that. All of that being said, let's go into the points. So these are the things that I thought were interesting from the live stream, and I'm going to do this in a casual, kind of chatty way just to get it all covered. So the first thing is, number one, the overall theme of Amber's voice in these snaps is desperate, controlling, and manipulative. So what we need to know is that the way that Beck and Destiny spoke, so what they basically did was they took screenshots from conversations between Destiny and Amberlynn, and there's also some conversations with Beck as well. They take these screenshots and then they read them out, so you can go and watch it if you want to, but the two people read the screenshots out, and the theme of everything that happens in the screenshot. So there are specific examples that I will give of this, but the overall kind of like overarching theme is that Amberlynn Reid is controlling and super, super manipulative.
Are you on your way now?
One thing I do want to caveat this with is Beck and Destiny were reading screenshots back and forth. One of them was playing, mostly Destiny was reading Amberlynn's parts and Beck was reading Destiny's parts. And so if you just go off of the way the two of them are reading, you need to be aware that the two of them are, for a lack of a better term, performing the screenshots. So I just want to caveat that with, these are text messages that are being read or performed by two individuals who are her exes, right? So right there, you have bias, right? And you have a legitimate reason for these text messages to be played up in a dramatic way, right? I'm not dismissing this. What you can do is you have eyeballs and you can read these things. And there is a lot that you can take away from a written message, especially when it comes down to the words that are used in the message. And I don't think Rachel is wrong here. When you go through, if you just cut the sound, freeze frame these things, and you will see what I'm talking about here with this screenshot of the messages and why it's got a date, it's got a time. Well, maybe it doesn't have a date and a time, but it does have all the other information. It looks like it came off of a phone. Why are these people keeping these messages from this far long? Like, I couldn't tell you what text message I sent 9 years ago. If somebody walked up to me and was like, oh, I've got a text message from you from 9 years ago, I'd have to be like, I'm going to have to take your word on that because I can't prove one way or the other if you do or don't, you know? But it's just strange to me. Anyhow, but these look like screenshots. Like these look like real screenshots of real text messages, right? Anyhow, if you just go through and you just read the verbiage, again, it sounds like Amber. And you can see the words she chooses to use when talking to, excuse me, my God, I'm so sorry. When she is talking to Destiny. And it is incredibly, well, whiny for one, but that whininess is a form of manipulation. She is trying to guilt trip Destiny. She is trying to annoy Destiny in a way to get Destiny to come and do the thing that Amber wants Destiny to do. I think the thing that isn't mentioned, I don't think Rachel mentions this, but I do think it's a little bit important for the context of these messages that are being read right now. These are all post-breakup. These messages right here that she's going to go over in this video, these are all post-breakup between her and Destiny. So these are messages that Amber is sending Destiny after they broke up, and Destiny is now seeing Dana, which makes these even more mind-boggling, to be perfectly honest. But anyway.
Not yet.
But there are a lot of things I want to do. I don't want to be rushed, and it looks like I'm going to have to be. And I want to go and buy the movie theater ticket way early and get the seat I want. We were supposed to do my hair today before we did anything.
So she will say things.
And as you can see, there's more. Rachel's got more examples of the screenshots here. Amber's also using a lot of emojis to kind of punctuate her emotional state at the time. Emojis have become the way of communicating emotions, because why not? You know, God bless emojis, honestly. Anyway, she says, like for this one, for example, that's what you've been saying for 2 hours now. Crying face, crying face, crying face, crying face. Another thing to like note, and I think Rachel will note this later, Destiny's responses are like bare minimum. Like, I am soon. I am though. Nothing. Please stop. I think another one was, I will. They're very brief. But if you look at Amber's responses, they're like small paragraphs. They're like small novels. And here's the dates I was talking about. There are timestamps here, which makes it even more astonishing if you realize how long, how many messages she's shooting in between these timestamps. Anyhow, where was I going with this? Oh, yeah, this is post-breakup. So Destiny's at Dana's at this point, because I did watch the video. Destiny's at Dana's at this point. Amber is bugging the shit out of Destiny because she wants Destiny to come get her so they can go do some bullshit. And Destiny doesn't have any responsibility to Amber at this point. Like, they are no longer together. They are not girlfriends. So, and not only are they not girlfriends, but Destiny and Dana are, if not officially girlfriends, are starting their relationship, right? So commitment wise, Destiny's commitments are to Dana now, right? And it's just like, but Amber can't accept that. And this is what I'm talking about with Destiny being the one that got away. Amber never successfully controlled Destiny. She was never able to control Destiny with money. She was never able to control Destiny with gifts. She could never emotionally manipulate Destiny. She never was able to fully control Destiny's time, right? And even after the breakup, she still continued to try. And it still never worked. And I think that's one of the reasons why Amber was always so obsessed with Destiny, even well into her relationship with Beck, even probably into her relationship with Wifey. Because she just never successfully got her claws into Destiny. And I do wonder if we will see that in another relationship here in the future about somebody else in the past, like maybe Wifey or Tommy. You know, I don't know yet, but we'll find out, I guess.
That are like not okay to say, and she will expect things of people that are not okay. And that is like we will go into, like I've said, the specific ways that she does that and the specific times that she does that with examples. But that is kind of like one of the big themes that I got from their video. Examples of this are when Destiny says that even though her and Amber had broken up, Amber still expected Destiny to sleep in her bed, which was, a bit strange.
I know, but we still lived together. And then that was another thing when we were still living together. Like we had a guest room and she wouldn't let me sleep in the guest room. I still had to sleep in the bed with her. And
right. Yeah, she did the same thing to me.
There's also the situation where Destiny was still expected to look after Amber, so Amber is extremely demanding that Destiny come and see her and meet up with her, and Destiny explains that she was expected to do Amber's hair, and there's one point where Amber says, I'm not going to have time to eat comfortably and walk around Walmart if you don't leave right now. And it's really obvious from the whole theme of the video and all the all of the screenshots that we see, that Amber thinks that she is the center of Destiny's world and that she should be the center of every situation. There's a really insightful comment. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it, but it's...
I really like this comment. There's a Spanish saying that perfectly describes Amber. She wants to be the baby at every christening, the bride at every wedding, and the corpse at every funeral. Yep.
Says something like, Amberlynn Reid is the kind of person who wants to be the bride at every wedding, the birthday person at every birthday, and the corpse at every funeral. It's...
I mean, close enough.
Like, she needs to be center of attention, number one person. She can't think past her own wig, and I think we have seen evidence of...
I've never heard that one either. Like, I've never heard either of those, but it's like perfect.
That. Speaking of Amberlynn Reid's wig, Beck and Destiny also talk at length about how they had to take care of Amber's hair.
We're gonna skip this real fast because I don't actually care about Amber's hair. It's not surprising that her hair is absolute shit. So, there we are. Disability.
This is a really interesting topic. So Amber's really overweight, right? The reason that she needs all of this help is because she's so big. And I think that she is, I don't know, it's really difficult for me. So there are people who think that being overweight is a disability. I'm sure
being overweight is a disability. Well, being over a certain weight is a form of disability. Don't come for me, because you have disabled yourself. It is not a disability in the same vein as an individual who, drew the short stick in the genetic lottery, right? Or somebody who at some point in their life had something happen and now they are no longer capable of an average life. I don't know how to put that. They have become disabled, right? Or, sometimes you're just old and you just become disabled, right? Things happen. Shit happens. I could walk across the street and get hit by a car and lose the use of my legs, right? And now I'm disabled, right? That is not something that's in my control. Me eating myself to 600 pounds is. You can argue with me all damn day if you want. But in the end, the only person putting food in my mouth is me, right? But the problem is, and if you watch 600 Pound Life or any of those other types of shows, again, shout out to Shauna Steele, these people are disabled. We watch Amber. She is disabled, right? She can't walk really. She clearly can't wipe her own back end. We suspect she can't shower properly. She can't take care of her own hair. We know that. There's other things. We suspect she can't take care of her pets very well. The missing cat. Part of the reason that cat's missing is because Amber can't go after the cat. There's no way Amber could have looked for that cat, right? Another really good example of that is when Amber was in Wisconsin and she was talking about the step stool that Tommy had to get for Amber in order to get into Tommy's truck. Don't get me wrong, short girl problems. But the difference is there's handles and shit so that you can pull yourself into those big ass trucks. Usually, sometimes there's not. And I know this because I used to work out of vehicles like this, and I am a very short person. And so, yeah, it's a pain in the ass, but a normal weight person or someone within a normal weight range or even just slightly above overweight, I can pull myself into a vehicle, right? I can pull my own weight up long enough to get my ass into the truck seat. Amber can't do that. She had to have a step stool in order to step into the truck. And even then, she basically had to roll into the vehicle in order to get into the seat. She's disabled. She is no longer able to move in a way that she can successfully get her body from point A to point B. People give her shit about not driving. I don't think Amber could actually drive. I think she is too big to sit comfortably behind a steering wheel and reliably be able to shift gear, to hit the brake, to react if she needs to in a situation, like turn quickly, slam the brake if necessary. Yeah, it's that kind of stuff. Like, I don't think she safely could drive. And there's people who are bigger than Amber who just, they can't even cook their own food. Now they're being enabled, right? So it is a disability, but it's not the same level, right? It's not the same kind of disability, which I think is why you see people like struggle with calling obesity a disability, especially morbid obesity, a disability, because it also, there's different health things that come with it. You get different forms of heart disease, you get diabetes, you get all these other different types of like health problems that do destroy and cripple the body from the inside out. Even like you suddenly you can't breathe anymore, you can't sleep at night because you've got sleep apnea, your heart can't pump your blood, so you can't walk as far anymore. Whatever heart disease does. I don't have it, so I don't know. But the point is it is crippling, but not in the same way that we typically think of disability, right? We typically think of disability when it comes to people who, again, who are born with it, who have gotten that way because of things outside of their control, or in general, like elderly. We are all going to age at some point. Probably we are all going to experience some kind of age-related disability. It's probably going to happen, right? You're going to stop being able to see as well. You're going to stop being able to hear as well. You're going to, I don't know, hopefully we all keep our senses into our old ages, but there's a possibility you won't, right? These are things that are outside of our control for the most part, right? Our weight, not so much. We have the majority of the control over our weight, right? So that's why people have that's why I think people have problems aligning obesity and morbid obesity with disability, even though it has the same repercussions as disability, right? And you still need the same, I want to say allowances, but I don't think that's the right word, accommodations as other forms of disability, right? But unlike other forms of disability, you can get better from obesity, right? You can get rid of obesity, right? You can improve from obesity. You can no longer be obese, right? So, and I think that's another reason why people have such a hard time equating obesity with disability, because it's one of the rare disabilities you can get better from, you can get rid of, right? So anyway, that was my little rant.
Sure, I know that it gets to the point where you're so overweight that you can't do things. So in that way, it is a disability. But I really don't like people like Virgie Tobart who make out that because you're fat, you should be treated the same as people who have genuine disabilities or who are different. I think differently abled is a more PC way of saying.
Yeah, I don't mean to be offensive. I don't know what the terms are these days. I apologize.
It. A lot of people emphatic.
And Virgie Tovar can burn in hell for all I give a shit, honestly.
Acceptance make out that because you're fat, you should have the same sort of status and treatment as somebody who's disabled. And I don't agree, because if you're fat, it's almost certainly your own fault. Whereas if you're disabled, of course, it's not your fault in any way. So the fact that Amberlynn Reid is so big and needs all of this help is not the same as a person who's disabled needing loads of help.
I agree. I know I went on that long ass rant. I agree with Rachel, and I agree with that mentality that it is not the same. It is, what is the word? It's effectively the same, but it's not the same, right? Fat acceptance always tries to lump themselves in with disabled people. And it's because they don't have a leg to stand on otherwise, right? They are not the same as disabled people, right? They have the same effects. Their bodies are suffering the same effects because they've done that to themselves, almost certainly. I mean, there are probably 0.0000.1% of the population who didn't, and there's something really strange about them. Not Anna. But for the most part, these people are this way because they did it to themselves. Virgie Tovar looks like the way she does because Virgie Tovar did that to herself. Virgie Tovar likes cake more than she likes exercise. Virgie Tovar likes cake more than she likes vegetables and has made a video saying as much. Virgie Tovar thinks exercise is akin to child abuse. Virgie Tovar can burn in hell. Anyway, but that's kind of my point. I don't think it should be on the roster as the same as, you know, other forms of disability. But the end result is, like, you know, they still can't take care of themselves. They still can't walk up a flight of stairs. They still might need a wheelchair to get around. Like, they still have the same effects, but I don't think it's equal, I guess, is where I'm trying to go with this.
And I think that Amber obviously needs people very, very badly because of her physical difficulties. She also needs them really, really badly because of her abandonment issues and her BPD.
Yes.
And one of the other things,
I think it's precious that you think she has BPD, but that's another discussion.
Themes that I saw hugely between these messages is you can see that Amber is having BPD meltdowns.
Amber's having meltdowns, whether it's BPD or not. Okay, look. For the purposes of this video, because I don't know if Rachel does truly believe that Amber has BPD or if Rachel is just, for the purposes of this argument, treating Amber as if she does have BPD. For the purposes of this video, we are going to just roll with the BPD because I'm not going to have this argument every fucking time that word flashes on the screen. Because we're just not. We can have that argument anywhere else. Right now is not the time. I just want to go on record right now. Personally, not a doctor, not a therapist, couldn't diagnose if I wanted to. I don't personally believe Amber has BPD. I think she's just collecting shit from TikTok, and I think BPD is like a buzzword that just got stuck in her head, and she's like, I have that. Or ChatGPT told her that she had it one day. So, you know, that's what I think's going on. But that's my personal take on it. The only thing I know that 100% for sure she's been diagnosed with is bipolar. And I know that because she has witnesses. So was she misdiagnosed? Possibly. But can we say for sure? No, because we have no confirmation in any way, shape, or form that she's ever gone anywhere and been re-diagnosed with anything else, right? So the last time we have any reliable information about anything about her and her mental diagnoses is that she was diagnosed with bipolar. End of discussion. Now, again, for the purposes of this video, we are just going to let it go. Because again, not doing this every time BPD flashes. So. I'm healthy.
In these messages, you can see that Amber is at home stressing and trying desperately to cling to destiny. Yes. I think that's something that Amberlynn Reid absolutely does. And I think she still probably does it with her partners. I'm sure she did it with Emily. We'll get to this in a little bit, but the fact that she went to Emily's house expecting to basically move in and was there for 3 months, I think she doesn't understand that, or put it this way, I think that the way that she sees the world is Amber-centered and Amber-focused, and her emotions are the most important thing. She feels every single feeling. As soon as a feeling bubbles up inside her, that is her main priority, herself, her feelings, and it makes her very, very selfish. And
yes, and I don't think that's necessarily a BPD thing, but I do think that is an issue that Amber does need to learn to work with, and I don't think she's going to, because I personally think Amber... I don't think Amber necessarily sees that as bad. Like, I don't think Amber sees that as a red flag. I think she kind of sees it as normal. And therefore, she doesn't really see a reason to change that behavior. And the other thing is as long as she can blame that behavior on some form of mental diagnosis, she's going to use that mental diagnosis as a shield to continue that behavior. That's all these mental diagnoses are. They're just shields to continue behavior that she has no interest in correcting, right? She really did go to Wisconsin looking like she was ready to move in. Like, why would you take your animals to Wisconsin for a 2-week visit? She told us it was a 2-week visit. This whole, I don't know where you guys get 2 weeks from. Bitch, you told us 2 weeks. That's where we got 2 weeks from. And then it was like 3 months. So no, her story doesn't line up. Anyway, I had something else I wanted to say. Well, obviously it wasn't that important. Oh, and I wanted to go back and talk about, I had a comment on my video several videos ago now, by Jay Woman, and they were talking mostly about Amber's use of language and how it was very limited and very self-centered. And it was obvious that by Amber's lack of, they were talking specifically about Amber's lack of variety in their language, not necessarily like their they were talking about their vocabulary, not necessarily the way Amber says things. Like we moved past that in the comment. But it was obvious from Amber's limited vocabulary and how her vocabulary was very self-centered, that Amber was not curious about things outside of herself, which is very much what Rachel just said here. So it's interesting to me. I know I say that a lot, but it's interesting that multiple people who are in multiple fields that study human behavior from multiple angles, because I believe Jay Woman is I hope to God I'm saying your name correctly. But I believe they're my linguistics person, or one of my linguistics person. I think I've got two of you now. And Rachel's the philosopher, and you've got me coming in with the anthropological angle here. We're all seeing the same base behavior with Amber. And I'm sure if I had like some psychology people, I'd be seeing that too. And then of course there's just everyone else who has eyeballs. So it's not like it's difficult to see. I just think it's interesting that there's people who have specific language for this type of shit, and we're all kind of zeroing it in the same kind of way. And it's just like, well, there you go. Amber would be, and I have said this from day one, those of you who are in these types of fields and you need a really good paper that's just kind of unusual and out of nowhere, here you go, man. Amberlynn Reid, bam. Amberlynn Reid and the Amberverse, bam. Have fun with it. This is a great paper topic. And not just Amber, but like the Amberverse. You need to look at not just her, but like the community around her as well. So anyway. Yeah.
And very difficult to handle. And that's what we see evidence of in these messages between Beck and Destiny and Amber. Destiny covers a situation where she and Amber were in Walmart and they were both on the little trolley things, and Amber apparently made Destiny get one too because Amber didn't want to be the only person who was on one. But they have an argument and Amber drives away, or rides away on the little cart, and then Destiny can't find her, so Destiny drives home, and then Amber messages Destiny and effectively
the Destiny leaves Amber at Walmart thing really kind of goes back to Amber was never able to fully manipulate Destiny. Beck would have spent the evening trying to find Amber, and then would have tried to placate Amber to get Amber back into the vehicle to get Amber home. Destiny was like, I ain't playing this game, and left. And I think that behavior shocked Amber enough that Amber then walked home, right? Because Amber was approaching her heaviest when she was with Destiny. And I'm going to let Rachel finish because she also makes a really good point here. But I think that was a moment for Amber to realize that she did not have full control over the relationship, because if she had, Destiny would not have just left her there in Walmart, right? She was able to manipulate Destiny into riding around on the scooter with her. But when Amber threw her little fit over being called Pookie, I don't even remember why that's a bad thing. I think that was like a nickname for the girlfriend prior to Amber or something like that. I don't know the whole lore with Pookie. But anyway, Amber rode off in her little scooter and her little huff, expecting to be chased after, right? Expecting for Destiny to come look for her. And then Destiny didn't. That was not the game. That was not the game plan. right? And that was enough of a shock to make Amber do something out of character, which was walk home from Walmart, right? How, yeah. So that was interesting to me.
He walks home, and then when she's almost home, she says to Destiny, like, I'm nearly home, and Destiny offers to pick her up, and Amber says no. So that is an example of Amber being very proud, but also it's an example of how vulnerable she is. She can't drive herself places, she can't do things for herself. She relies on Destiny, and it's very clear in these videos, or in this video, that Destiny would take Amber shopping on a Sunday, and on a Sunday it was expected that Destiny and Amber would go to Lexington, apparently is the place. I don't know anything about American geography, actually that's not true. I know all 50 states in a row, but
Good for you, because I don't.
but the point is, Destiny and Amber used to always spend Sunday together doing things to basically help Amber. And that's something that she still does. She still relies on her mum to drive her to get groceries. And if Amber needs to do anything or go anywhere, she can't drive. She can't really walk very far at all. There's no way she can get on a bus because she can't stand for very long. She probably wouldn't fit in a single seat, or she definitely wouldn't fit in a single seat. I doubt she'd fit in a double seat. I mean, this is not me fat shaming. I've been bigger than I am now, and there's been times when I've struggled to fit in various different seating. So it's not like I'm taking the piss. It's just a fact that sometimes Amber didn't fit, or that Amber, wouldn't have fit in various public transport seating. So
I would be very surprised if Amber would fit into any public seating right now. Like, she was gonna fly originally. Wasn't she saying something about flying to Wisconsin? And I was like, I can't wait to see this. But yeah, that didn't happen. All right, so we're gonna jump from. I don't really care about the married woman. I don't care. Amber's already proven that she's a lie. Did I want to talk about Desperate for Love? No, because I think that I think what she just said here is very much basically going to be the same thing in the Desperate for Love. And I think a lot of people have pointed out that though Amber likes to say that she's got a whole ass harem waiting for her, she jumps at the first person who makes noises about committing, because she needs a caretaker that badly. And it goes back to what Rachel was just saying about how vulnerable Amber is. She can't take care of herself. She can't drive herself. She can't get her own groceries. If she needed anything for an emergency, she couldn't just go get it. If the dog needed to go to the emergency vet, she couldn't just take the dog to the emergency vet, right? She's reliant on someone coming to get her and then taking the dog to the emergency vet, right? It's an extra layer that Amber has to deal with because she is not self-reliant, and she probably never will be at this point. And that goes back to the self-made disability. She is this way because she's pushing 600 pounds at this point. She has disabled herself. And that's a decision Amber has made. And it's a decision Amber continues to live with making, right? She's not doing anything to not be that way. I do want to talk about the financials, though.
Now we get onto the financial abuse. We know already that Amber uses financial abuse. We've seen her hold money over people's heads and use money to control people and be like, well, I'm paying for this, I'm paying for that. We know about her allegedly taking Beck's inheritance. If you want to know about that and you don't, where have you been? But you can watch this video from me where I talk about that. There's lots of evidence in Beck and Destiny's video of this financial abuse. We see Amber talking about how she gave people money and she bought them gifts, and that's examples of how she should be allowed to be entitled to their time, or they should have bought her gifts back.
Like, I try so hard to be cool with you guys and help you when you need it, buying you food, gonna pay for Cheesecake Factory, and help you when you needed your electricity on, etc. What?
I was thinking about that too. You know how she would hold this stuff over everybody's heads anytime she would do something for them. But most of the time, it was her being like, I want to go out to eat. I want to go out to eat. And everybody else would be like, we don't have the money. And she'd be
I wonder, this is unrelated to what's being talked about right this moment. I wonder if this conversation that's occurring between these two, if there isn't an actual FaceTime call, so like Destiny can actually see Beck, and then when Beck edited this, they just put the little picture. I love these types of pictures, by the way, in there, because Destiny just reacted in a way that shows that she was reading like an expression or something that Beck might have been making. So anyway, unrelated.
like, but I'll pay for it. Don't worry. And make everybody go out to eat, but then hold it over your head later.
Amber does address this in her live stream where she talks back to what Beck and Destiny said.
So also the whole thing where people were like, oh my God, Amberlynn is so crazy because she was upset that Destiny did not wish her a happy birthday. Yeah, because I made sure, like, when it was Dana's birthday, even like I have logged these things. Like
She doesn't hear herself. This is what fascinates me right here.
Valentine's Day, birthdays, like whatever it may be, like I would always gift them. And, you know, I'm a very giving person. That's how I've always been. And like we were friends then. It wasn't like this weird situation type deal.
Yeah, it was. That was.
So it's like when I do that for other people and I can't even get a happy birthday, it hurts.
But Amber,
She doesn't hear herself. She is that person that is always looking for a gift in return for a gift. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a physical gift, but she wants gratitude. We've pointed this out when she bought those protein shakes for her mom. And she made a huge fucking point about asking her mom, "Oh, did you like those protein shakes that I bought you?" And made a big deal about having her mom not only talk about how much she liked them, but thanking Amber for buying them for her. And what was the other thing? She did it to her mom twice. "Oh, I bought my mom this thing. Mom, what did you think?" And made her mom like thank her for it on camera. And during this whole rebuttal to the Beck and Destiny video, on more than one occasion, Amber talked about how she felt entitled to Destiny's time, Destiny and Dana's time, because she had spent money on them in the past, or she had gifted them money or gifted them things in the past. And Destiny talks about it a lot, or talked about it several times in the conversation with Beck, about how Amber, and she showed the screenshots, how Amber would just basically whine at Destiny to get Destiny to come spend time with her, even though Destiny had other commitments or didn't want to. And Amber would always, she'd start off whining about it, and then she'd do the whole like, "Oh, come on, you know, you want to spend time with me." And when that didn't work, she'd fall back on the, "Well, I did this for you, and I bought you this, and I gave you that, and I, for you, the least you could do is come hang out with me." And it's a way of controlling, the relationship. And it didn't work with Destiny. And I don't think it's necessarily because Destiny was like a gold digger or something like that. I just don't think Destiny responds to that kind of manipulation. Whether it was Destiny saw it that way, saw the manipulation and was like, nah, or if it was just like Destiny just knee-jerk didn't react to that kind of stuff. Some people just don't react to that kind of, they don't even, it doesn't register, they don't react to it, right? Beck, on the other hand, it sounds like Beck did feel guilty about it, and Beck, she could hold it over Beck's head, and Beck would react, right? So, because otherwise, there was no way that Beck would have handed over their inheritance to Amber because Amber needed it for bills and rent or whatever the fuck the excuse was, right? So, and Amber is perfectly happy using finances and financial assistance and gifting as a form of leverage over people to get what she wants. All right. And that has been a well-established behavior. But then she will, because this isn't the first time Amber's defended herself on a live about the way she uses finances as a form of control and manipulation. She will out herself about this, but she talks about it in a way that makes me think that it is just absolutely normal for her. She doesn't see it the way everyone else sees it, right? She doesn't see it as financial abuse. She sees it as just normal behavior. And that just blows my mind because people point out to her, no, that's not normal. That's the wrong way to do that. And it doesn't click with her at all. So this is normal behavior. This is something she has learned or that she was exposed to long enough for it to become an ingrained normal behavior, normalized behavior for her around money and finances, right? So financial control is something that she has experienced early enough in her life and long enough in her life that this is normal for her, right? And that's another reason why I like, you don't have to work hard for me to convince me that she had a shit childhood. You really don't. She has all of the telltale markings of it. And just the little things that she says and does that are just like, it's not even like she's being sneaky. She just doesn't even register that it's not okay. It's just like, yeah, I gave them money, therefore they owe me time. Of course. It's like, it's not even a question. Anyway.
But basically says that she's entitled and she's okay to be upset about when she's bought somebody a birthday gift and they haven't bought her one back. She's allowed to be upset about that. Yeah. And she does this whole bit where she goes, well, I'm allowed to have my feelings and don't let anybody tell you you can't have your feelings.
Yeah.
And
it hurts. And I'm allowed to express that. I'm allowed to have feelings. I'm allowed to feel pain. I'm allowed to feel sadness. How I speak about it, I need to probably work on. And that I am there for, which I have gotten better, obviously, since 9 years ago.
It's absolutely true. You can have your feelings, but I think that your feelings and your mood and your emotions they're important and they're relevant, but they're not number one. And for Amber, her own feelings, her own emotions, her own thoughts are the only or the most important thing above everybody else. She doesn't realize that she is one of many characters. She thinks that she's the main character and then everybody else are just her kind of like support cast, and what they do and how they feel and what they say should be feeding into her agenda rather than realizing that she is on those people's level and she's one of the supporting cast in this world, just like we all are. She's not. We have the whole thing with the
okay, I don't disagree. I think she has a lot to say. I will be linking this, so you know, if you guys want to go watch this, please do. I do want to jump ahead. Like I said, we're not watching the whole damn thing. We're already at like an hour and a half, so I want to jump to Beck's injury, and we're going to talk about Beck's ankle. And that's because it's an interesting double story here.
Injury. So just to be clear as well, in Amberlynn Reid's live stream where she reacts to Beck and Destiny's video, she doesn't react to it actually, I don't know why I said that. She mentions it a couple of times. I think she went live because she knew her live would get a lot of views because she thought that people would think that she was addressing their video when actually she only addressed it like a couple.
I think she went live because I think she went live because she thought she was going to be countering their video. I thought she thought that they were going to do or say or talk about more things than they ended up doing. Because they had planned. You could tell from their discussion at the end that they had planned to. So I think Amber was prepared to take it to the mattresses, and that didn't end up happening. So I'm sure if another video comes out, we'll see Amber go live again right afterwards. For whatever reason, she's feeling really cocky during her lives. I guess maybe she has developed a hug box in her lives that she feels comfortable around or something. I don't know. But I think she had actually intended for the lives to be a direct counter to the Beck and Destiny video. I just don't think it ended up being the video that she was expecting it to be, right? Anyway, what else I was going to say? Obviously, it wasn't that important.
A lot of times, and she mainly just says, you know, it's hectic, or sharing some, you know, that video is totally hectic, and get your bag, I guess. Like, I'll put in here some bits of what Amber says, but she doesn't address it very much properly.
Beck is one of the biggest manipulators I have ever in my life known.
Prove it. What? They have done an excellent job of proving, both Beck and all of your exes, have done an excellent job of proving your manipulation. You have not in any way, shape, or form shown anything that would make me go, oh, yeah, I see it. I see the manipulation. I don't see it. You have never provided anything to make me even doubt. And you can. Like, Amber could put something up. Like, I am open-minded enough that Amber really could present some form of evidence that I would be like, oh, all right, I see your point. Because Amber can be a shit person, and so can one of her exes. Like, I don't like Destiny. I think the two of them are both awful people. And I think that they were both awful people to each other. And I don't necessarily trust everything that comes out of Destiny's mouth. I think Destiny makes shit up just as much as Amber does. Or maybe not as much, but I definitely think Destiny embellishes and lies sometimes, right? So I don't necessarily believe everything Destiny says, right? But I've yet to see Amber provide anything that makes me question Beck. Okay? And I'm just like, anything. Just one thing to make me go, maybe. I've nothing. Anyway.
And I'm not the only person in their life, or who used to be in their life, that knows that. And that's something.
And she's trying to pretend like Ricky and Eric both think that Beck is manipulative. And she's insinuating that that's why they're her friends and not Beck's friends.
Something I've been very vocal about, and I'm genuinely not afraid to say that.
Well,
very big manipulator. And they were doing
a manipulator
in the video.
Sorry.
And I know a lot of people picked up on it as well. It's just like,
really? Where in the video was Beck being manipulative? What part of that? Because I watched it. What part of that was Beck being manipulative?
I don't know. And then to hear that like Beck was never actually really like excited to meet me for the first time. It's like Beck had so many negative views of me. Like, why did you stay with me?
Because you forced yourself basically into a relationship with Beck and you made it move a whole lot faster than Beck was actually comfortable. Because Beck has more than explained why things went the way they did. And we have watched you in other relationships move faster than the speed of light. It just didn't work this last time with Tommy. And so, yeah, don't sit here and pretend like you don't know why you and Beck got into a relationship as fast as you did. And we all know once you're in that relationship, you're not letting go. You took over Beck's personal bank account. You took over Beck's personal bank account and kept it after the breakup. You made Beck open a brand new checking account or savings account, or doesn't matter, brand new banking account when the two of you broke up, as opposed to removing yourself from Beck's checking account or banking account. Can't remember. The point being, you hijacked Beck's finances from the beginning and basically held on to it the entire time you two were together. Okay.
Why did you even want to be with me at all? Like, you weren't excited to meet me. You actually never loved me. All these like things. I'm like,
Destiny said all of the exact same things that you're claiming Beck said, and yet you were more than happy to be with Destiny. So
what is happening? Like, where's the gray area? Like, what is genuinely happening? Because like they're painting it as they did use me. Like, read between.
No. I know there are a lot of, well, not a lot. I know there is a group of people that do not like Beck, and that's fine, because I see you all commenting, and it's fine. You are perfectly valid in not liking Beck. Absolutely fine. As long as we all stay, reasonable in our dislikes. So I do see people who do think that Beck was basically a gold digger. I see that. I do. I don't personally see the behavior there. But that's my personal view. I do see other people who do see it that way. But personally, I'm going to call bullshit on this little statement. And this is another form of... This isn't even gaslighting. This is a form of manipulation on Amber towards her audience. It's another one of the laws where she's basically trying to... she's trying to rally the audience around her and change... Well, it's Darvo is what it is. She's trying to deflect her own behavior onto Beck, and she's redirecting the attention away from herself onto Beck. So this is a Darvo behavior, but it's also one of the 48 laws. And it's a way of changing the angle of view so that Beck now looks like the bad person and the attention is off of Amber, right? That's what's going on here.
Between the lines, they're literally admitting I didn't even like Amberlynn. I wasn't even excited to like meet her. Or
Beck actually says plenty of times that they did like you. They just weren't in love with you. That they had some feelings for you. It just wasn't love. But you were the one that just kind of bowled your way in.
Go on dates with her. Like, it's weird energy. It's giving weird energy. And I don't know, just the whole thing is just so weird to me. Like, to show text messages from 9 years ago.
You were showing text messages from back when you and Casey were dating. You were showing text messages from back when you were dating, yep, Destiny, and you were still talking with your exes. Why is it okay for you to do it, but it's not okay for your exes to do it? Like,
it's giving odd behavior. And I don't know, make your bag, I guess.
I mean, you didn't demonetize this live, so hello, pot. This is the kettle.
I don't know.
One of the things that she does address is this thing where Beck basically has an injury. So Beck's in a car parking lot. I don't remember the name of the business, but Beck breaks their ankle and they end up going to the hospital and having physiotherapy and paying for doctor's bills and stuff. And Destiny says to Beck, "Didn't you sue, or what happened there? Did you sue?"
I know that you tried to, but nothing ever came of that, right?
No, I sued them too, and I got a little settlement from it.
Oh, okay.
But that's what paid my doctor bills, my physical therapy stuff, because I had to take like extensive physical therapy.
Yeah, I remember it was messed up for a long time. Was it your driving ankle?
Yeah, it was my right foot.
And Beck specifies that
Here's what I'm taking away from that. Do you hear how casually that was talked about? I feel like, see, Destiny is a manipulator. And I think that's why I don't like Destiny. Destiny did lead that question, but Beck's response was just so fluid and so natural. Either Beck is like the perfect manipulator, which could be. The perfect manipulator cannot be caught. But either that is true, or just the ease in which Beck tells that. There's no pause, there's no hesitation. It's just, yeah, that's what happened. And because of that, I use that money for my rehabilitation because I had extensive rehabilitation. And then Destiny goes, "Oh yeah, wasn't that your driving foot?" And Beck says, "Oh yeah, that was my right foot. Yeah, it laid me out for a while." And then Amber,
they did sue, and that the fact that they sued, they got some money from the settlement, and that settlement is what paid for the physio and the doctor's bills. In her live stream, Amber claims that she paid for all of the physio and the doctor's bills. Also, suing does cost money. You'd have to pay for the litigation, pay for your lawyer.
I don't know how it works over there, and does Rachel live here in the States? I don't know. It's entirely possible Rachel lives here. It's also impossible that Rachel lives on the other side of the pond. I don't know. But here in the States, sometimes, what do they call it? Physical injury lawyers won't get paid. Well, okay, this is what they claim. I've never had to use one, but they claim that they won't get paid until you win or something like that. I'm sure they get paid somehow, else they wouldn't be in business. But it's my understanding that they get paid out of your settlement fee. So
until you get the settlement, it is expenses. Amber basically claims that she paid for all of this.
Beck lied about, so they fell when we were visiting their family. They messed up their ankle and Beck ended up suing. And I paid for all of the therapy, the physical therapy, everything that they needed. I paid for all of that. So they lied.
And this is Amber rewriting that story after the fact. And Amber's story is very hesitant, very, like, choppy. It's just, it doesn't sound as authentic and as natural as Beck's part did.
Lied about that. So just had to make that.
I have a beetle. It's a tiny, tiny beetle crawling on the window frame. And it's moving so slowly. I don't have ADHD. Do I really? God damn you, beetle.
Clear.
Beck claims that it was the settlement that paid for these things. Amber claims that she paid for these things. It's one person's word against the other.
This is true. This is true. It does boil down to that. I am choosing one person to believe over the other based on things that I think are relevant. Right? Again, I guess the only way we would ever really know is if we could see the bank statements. So there's that. Rachel is going to say this, like, there's two sides to every story, and I've already stated how, like, I don't really agree with that particular adage, but yeah, so take it, so there. I don't know, man. There. I disagree. Anyway.
I don't know what the truth is, but I thought that was worth mentioning. There's also a section where somebody asks Amber if she thinks that Destiny is ugly. She says,
yeah, I don't care about this part. All right, so let's jump down to reading your comments on Destiny and Beck's video.
The thing I am going to quickly do now is just read a...
And I will be right back. All right, let's do some of these comments. I don't know if we're going to do all of them. There's only, what, there's 6. There's only 6 minutes left, so we can do that, I think. I mean, at this point.
A couple of comments underneath the Destiny and Beck video. Let me just pull that up for a second, bear with me. So pulling it up and looking at it now, it is on 136k, so that's a lot of views. Let's have a look at these top comments. So somebody says, this is my reward for being so invested in Girl World for the last 6 years. Yeah, I mean, hearing 2 of Amberlynn Reid's exes coming out and spilling private DMs and stuff like that about her is, if you're here for the drama, which I partially am, this is, you know, this is a field day, because it's super, super dramatic, and Amber is getting exposed left, right, and centre. And you know, we do, you know, we're in Girl World. It's a drama community, sort of. We do like a bit of that.
Yeah, not sort of. It is a drama community. There's no sort of to it.
So, you know, I respect it. I feel the same way. This is the comment I was saying about.
I lost it. Never mind.
Somebody says there's a saying in Spanish that perfectly describes Amber. She wants to be the baby at every christening, the bride at every wedding, the corpse at every funeral. It's always about her. Yeah, I think it's absolutely true. Somebody says the beckoning is upon us.
I do like that one. Somebody typed that somewhere. It was a comment or something. I don't remember, but I saw it. I think I cackled when I saw that. I will say the blow for blow drama is doing nothing for me in general, but the overall impact of it all is very cathartic for me. I just kind of like watching Amber get taken down several pegs, just because I don't like her as a person. I'm fascinated by her as a person, but like, I don't like her. And watching her exes who have been kind of shat on by her over and over kind of come together. And I think one of the other comments here is like, they're unionizing. Watching them all kind of come together and just kind of work through the collective trauma that is Amber is kind of nice to see. It is also really, y'all, I like an underdog, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And it is also very rewarding to see that Beck is the one that seems to be the bridge here. Not necessarily like Beck isn't the one that like necessarily reached out to Casey. And I know Beck isn't the one that reached out to Destiny. Destiny, I think, reached out to Beck, and I know Snowflake reached out to Beck, and I know everyone else has reached out to Beck first, but Beck seems to be like the connecting factor here. And I think that's because Beck underwent like the worst of it. I'm not trying to underplay anybody else's. Give me a second, sorry. I was losing my train of thought. Come back to me. Well, anyway, I just think it's interesting that Beck has become like the common connecting piece between everyone. Because I feel like Beck got the shittiest end of the stick. Like I said, I'm not trying to downplay anybody else's shitty stick. But Beck does seem to be the one that like held on to it the longest. I don't know. So I think it's nice that Beck is like the union boss here. Also, I like Beck more than I like Destiny, so I would prefer it's Beck heading this up than Destiny. That's just a personal preference, but here we are.
That's quite funny. I love that they're unionizing. That's quite funny. I'm obsessed with Destiny's one-word responses. She did not give a fuck. Yeah, I think the fact that Destiny gave Amber those one-word responses, I've covered this already, but giving somebody who is really manipulative and really controlling and uses language to get what they want out of you, giving them one-word answers is very powerful because it takes away their ability to, twist and manipulate. And you said this and you said that. Well, the one-word answer is, the narcissist's kryptonite because they just can't stand it. Somebody says, I never care.
Yes, exactly.
Care about myself, that's the problem. Amberlynn Reid, laughing my ass off. Yeah, there is a section in the video where Amber says, I never care. Destiny basically says to Amber, why are you so obsessed with yourself? It's not all about you. And Amber says, oh no, you're right. I never care about myself. That's the problem. And
Amber does like to say that a lot. I don't care about myself. I let other people walk all over me. I this, I that, I something else. And it's never about me. I'm going to take care of myself more. Girl, when are you not thinking about yourself? Everything you do is for yourself. And it's not just Amber, it's like all of the fat acceptance chicks that we cover. They're all like that though. Anna says the same shit. Booty constantly. Some of the other girls who are no longer active, I guess is the way to put it. They all say the same shit. So they do constantly think about themselves and they do constantly put themselves first. In all the wrong ways, right? In all the attention-seeking ways, none of the healthy ways.
It's so ironic that somebody who is such a narcissist could say the sentence, I never care about myself, that's the problem, when actually...
And it isn't that ironic, actually, because the narcissist, if we really want to play this game, I again, can't diagnose. I hate when people do diagnose. But there is a form of narcissism that is like the self-depreciating... narcissist, something like that. Anyway, it's somebody that they are a narcissist. I'm not saying this is Amber, but there's a narcissist that is a narcissist, but they are like, they constantly put themselves down because they want you to build them up. Oh, I'm so, like, they're fishing for compliments, right? But in like a really negative kind of way. Oh, I'm such a horrible person. Tell me how I'm not a horrible person. That kind of a thing. They've got a martyr complex, like, I'm such a martyr. Amber does this. I give and I give and I give and you guys never give back and no, everybody always takes advantage of me. And it's that form. That is a form of narcissism. Again, not saying that's Amber. I'm just saying it's something that Amber does do. But ironically, narcissists will do that. It is a form of narcissism. Again, not saying that's Amber.
Actually, all she cares about is herself. The delusion is crazy. And I do sometimes feel a bit of guilt talking about Amber because the delusion is so crazy and the potential for it being caused by mental health issues is so high that when I laugh and take the mick out of Amber, I do sometimes worry, are we laughing at and having a good old joke at the expense of somebody who is actually mentally incapacitated? And if that is the case, are we all going to hell for that? You know who I'd love to hear talk about that? Tiny Blue Anthropologist. I'm going to at you in the comments and with a timestamp. I would love to hear what Tiny Blue thinks about this. This comment.
Are we all going to hell? Well, I mean, if we believe in the concept of hell, yes. Because if we believe in the concept of hell, there is actually no way to not go to hell because the rules to stay out of hell are so like restrictive, like no one can not break them in order to not go to hell, which is kind of the point of the, anyway, I know that's not what you're actually asking. Does Amber have a mental problem? Yes, I believe that she does. Again, I can't diagnose, but there's no way in hell she doesn't. I believe, this is my personal belief, just based on what I have observed of Amber, how Amber talks, how Amber behaves. I've been following Amber since the middle of her and Beck's relationship. I have watched retro videos all the way back to the Crystal era. I've watched a lot of other videos, a lot of documentation. Yep. I've watched Mr. Snowflake and other such videos. So I've watched a lot of retro stuff and I feel comfortable with the majority of what I'm about to say. I feel like Amber had a very bad childhood. I feel like she was failed by the systems that should have been there to help her. And I think because of that, she has developed survival mechanisms that are unhealthy, but have helped her survive to this point. And unfortunately, when you have a person who goes through life experiences like that, it does cause mental problems. It does. You don't need me to tell you that it is documented in more places. I mean, just get on the internet and just Google the shit. What specifically Amber has, I don't know. Like I said earlier, the only thing we know for sure she's been diagnosed with is bipolar. And even that, we're not entirely sure exactly what bipolar she was diagnosed with. I didn't even know it came in flavors, but apparently it does. But we know that she was diagnosed with it because we have other people to back that up. Do I think she has BPD? I don't know, man. Maybe she does. I don't know. But I don't trust her self-diagnosis. And I do know that Amber herself does nothing to help herself deal with her very obvious mental issues. Is she incapacitated? Because I think that was the other part of this question. Let me jump back. You say somebody who is actually mentally incapacitated. No, Amber is not incapacitated. Amber is not incapacitated, and here is my argument for why. Amber understands right from wrong. Amber can learn. Amber can adapt. Amber will change her behavior if she believes she needs to. And my examples for that are the Libby videos that Rachel did go over. And I don't know if I made a video or if I just did a live react to Rachel's video about Libby. I forget what you named that one. Guys, if I ever say I'm going to link something down below and I don't, please just let me know and I will immediately try to link it. But Amber, from the moment she started putting Libby up on her channel, received messages telling her that it was inappropriate for her to be putting video of Libby up on her channel. And for pretty much the entire time she was with Destiny, well, for a very, very long time, actually, until very, very recently, Amber pushed back about, no, it wasn't inappropriate, or she had a million excuses as to why it was perfectly okay for her to have fairly inappropriate videos of Libby up. I mean, these things, they weren't technically breaking TOS, but they were certainly breaking taste, and they made a lot of people uncomfortable. But this goes back to it's very clear that shit was happening in Amber's life very early on to normalize that type of behavior for her, to the point where she didn't realize that that wasn't normal, right? And it wasn't until some very extreme things happened that she finally figured out this shit won't fly. And as ill-timed as it was, her weird follow not follow of the gross account, and then her removing everything having to do with Libby off of her account, I do think the two things are related, but I think that's actually more showing that Amber finally figured out that the Libby stuff was actually inappropriate, and that was her finally learning that she needed to take that shit down. Does she actually believe that it is wrong? I don't know, but she knows that the presence of it is considered wrong, and she is taking it down because her audience reacts negatively to it, right? It's been documented at this point, so it does her no good, but the point is it's there. Another really good example of it is when she was dating Destiny, and this all really revolves around Destiny from now that I'm thinking about it. She put a video up of Destiny saying the N-word. Pretty sure. Did she take it down? Did she take the video down, or did it just get documented? It just got archived somehow. Anyway, put a video up. Destiny drops the N-word. And it does not get received well, obviously. And Amber tries to apologize for it. She tries to get a video of Destiny apologizing for it. I don't think either of them were actually sorry they did it. I think they were sorry that people were reacting the way that they were, but I don't think either of them actually thought it was offensive, if that made sense. But they understood that people were offended and they didn't want the backlash. So they took the video. So either the video got taken down, but either way, an apology video was put out, right? Amber put the video up, right? Amber edited and put it. Why do I do that? Amber edited and put the video up, right? So at the time, she didn't see anything wrong with it. It wasn't until after the audiences reacted that she realized there was something wrong, or at least something was being perceived as being wrong, and that she needed to remove it, right? There's a lot of examples of things that people go, there's a lot of examples of things that Amber puts up in her videos that people go, Jesus Christ. And Amber's like, what? What's wrong with you? You're the weird one here. And it's not until she gets enough pushback that she finally goes, oh, okay, I am the weird one. And then she'll either remove it or she'll walk it back or she'll just does what she normally does. It's just like, this never happened. This video doesn't exist. If you bring it up, I will completely ignore you're talking about it. The financial abuse stuff. She doesn't see it as financial abuse. I don't believe she does because it's been normalized. That behavior is normalized to her. Someone somewhere in her life normalized that behavior around her. And so she, all right, completely got derailed. Got a call from my doctor. I am not, in fact, dying. You had to be there for the joke. Anyway, but anyway, I think I've rambled on enough about this. No, I don't think we're dealing with someone who is actually mentally incapacitated. I think that personally, again, can't diagnose, not a real doctor, never claimed to be. I think somebody who looks more like that would be, who's that girl? Topikachu? The little I've seen of her, or I think more infamously, Chris-chan. Those two, Chris-chan especially, I think that's more somebody who is mentally incapacitated, and yeah, we're probably going to hell for that one. Amber, no. Amber's fully in control of her own. Amber's fully in control of herself. She's just choosing not to help herself. And because she's choosing not to help herself, it's kind of why I don't have a lot of pity for her. So she wants to sit here and she wants to be like, oh my God, you're being ableist and you're mental health shaming. And what else does she try to pull out of her ass? And it's like, I'm not. And neither are half the people that are calling you out on your bullshit, because most of the people that are calling you out on your bullshit probably are also suffering from some mental health that they are working towards having fixed, or they're working towards managing. They're going to therapy, they're taking the drugs, they're doing the work to mitigate it or manage it within their lives. You are not. And not only are you not doing anything to help yourself, you're constantly using it as an excuse for your shit behavior. That's not being incapacitated. That's purposefully misusing your diagnoses as a shield so that you don't have to improve yourself. So no, I don't think we're taking the piss out of somebody. I think we're rightfully calling someone out for bad behavior and for just not taking responsibility for themselves. I mean, yes, Amber was dealt a shit hand. I will be the first person to say that. But unfortunately, it's the hand she got dealt, and she's got to play it. You know, she's past the point where she can blame other people for the situation she's in. She has to fix the situation herself. We all do. It's the part of this that sucks. We're not the ones that effed ourselves up. True. We're the only ones who can fix ourselves. That's the part that sucks. I can be mad at the people who effed me up, you know, the people who screwed up my childhood all I want. what's that going to do for me today? Nothing. So what are my choices here? I can either continue to dwell on it, or I can go work on it and be a better person, right? And not take it out on the people around me, and not use it as a constant shield to act like a child and not take responsibility for my behavior, right? Because that's what adults do. I guess, I don't know. I have no pity for her in that situation. And so no. Now, saying that, if people take that as me saying, go be mean to Amberlynn, I am not saying that. And if that's how you take me saying that, then you might want to go look in a mirror and maybe self-reflect a little bit. I think there's a difference between telling Amber you need to go take care of your shit, and there's a difference between mocking her, making fun of her, calling her names, just being in general an asshole to her because you think you can. I don't condone that type of behavior. I don't care if she's 100% mentally stable or what. So if that's the kind of behavior we're talking about, then yeah, no, we're not. That's not good. That's not good. If we're talking about holding somebody responsible for not taking care of themselves and not, acknowledging their own issues, that's a completely different statement than let's all go beat up on Amberlynn Reid because we don't like her. That's different behavior completely. This video is cursed. Anyhow. Yeah, we got 4 minutes left, so let's do this. The funny thing is I've got Sweet Dreams Are Made of These sound in my head, but the words to I wear my sunglasses at night. Those are the lyrics I've got. Those two things are not the same. When my phone call went through, it switched Bluetooth over to my phone, and then my computer was like, I don't know what Bluetooth is. Anyway, back to this. We are finishing this video.
What Tiny Blue thinks about this. This comment here, it's so weird how Amber expects to be everyone's top priority, is so insightful, and it's so true. And I think part of the problem with Amberlynn is that she has all of these needs, right? We all have needs. I have needs. You have needs. It's normal. We've got physical needs, emotional needs. And it's my opinion, and I think it's the general opinion of people who have done any kind of personal work, that it's your own job to meet your own needs. It's not your job to meet my needs. I meet my needs. So
I apologize if the audio is cutting in and out. I don't know if that's Rachel's video or if that's me, and I apologize if it's me, but we're almost done with this video, so I'm not gonna fuck with it anymore. We're just going to finish this video. Or we're not. What is going on? What is happening? Well, I don't know what's going on. My computer has decided it's done for the day. So I'm just going to wrap up here. If you want to see the rest of Rachel's video, please, by all means, go watch it. I will be linking it down below. I apologize that we can't get through the last 4 minutes of the video because my computer's stupid. Welcome to my world. But yeah, I think it's a really good video. I think Rachel makes some really good points. We did skip over a lot of it, don't get me wrong. But, all the more reason for you guys to go watch it on your own time. It's at 66K views. Maybe you can make it 666. Anyhow, I don't know why. It was important, okay? Yeah, so this is pretty much all I want to talk about when it comes to the Beck and Destiny. I keep wanting to call it interview, but it really wasn't. It was just them sitting down and chatting with each other. That one, like I said, that video itself wasn't really that interesting to me, other than seeing the differences between how Amber treated Beck versus how Amber treated Destiny. And again, I honestly think the reason for that is Amber never had full control over the relationship with Destiny, where she did have full control over the relationship with Beck. And I think that was the major difference as to why. And I also think that's why she never really got over the relationship with Destiny, is because she never was able to get full control, and why she kept trying even after they broke up to get full control over Destiny. So Because, I mean, look how long she tried to control Beck after they broke up. It was like a year. Anyhow, I think what was more interesting was Amber's reaction to the video. And I do think that Amber went live after that video because she was expecting a different video. And I think the next time Beck and Destiny do a video together, they will be doing more of a Q&A. And I think that will be more the video Amber's expecting. And so I think we'll see a different reaction. But even then, Amber's reaction to the Beck and Destiny video, it's always interesting to me because she always thinks she's defending herself, but she usually just kind of digs her own grave deeper with just by the way she reacts to things, like especially with like the financial stuff. She, honest to God, does not see a problem with demanding people's time and attention and reciprocation when she spends money on them. Like, she really does think money and gifts buy her access to people, right? And she really has no problem saying that out loud. And I think, I don't know, because I do believe she learns, and I do believe she adjusts her behavior once she has learned. It may take her a minute, but she will learn. I think in the future, maybe here, if she makes it another year, here in the next year or so, you will hear her start saying or stop saying these things and start recalibrating her language around gifting and that kind of stuff, because she will learn that what she is saying right now is financially abusive, and not helping her case. But that's going to be a little bit down the road, because this is a new accusation that she is, well, it's not that new, but she is newly having to defend herself on multiple fronts against accusations of financial abuse, if that makes sense. So I think that's the major things I wanted to talk about. Rachel, as usual, puts forward a really great video, really great points. Really do enjoy just listening. I really think it would be fun. I know it's almost impossible to do, but I really think it would be fun to like just have a conversation, like a legitimate conversation with Rachel. I would even throw Colin in there with us. Who would be my dream thing? It would be like Rachel and Colin. I would love to have Sam in there and me. And I would like to have Snowflake in there. But only if he's going to be serious. Only if you're going to take it seriously. But just, I think it would be fun to just kind of sit down and have like a full ass like conversation about things and just kind of like really break things down, and not just like the, oh my God, Amber's such a horrible person, but be like the whys of it, and the hows and the whys, and the just like the reaction of the community to the behavior of Amber and that kind of stuff, and the shit that happens and the drama. I think that would be a fun kind of conversation. It would be very academic, and I don't know why, but that would just amuse me to no end. It would probably amuse literally no one else, but to me, it would be great. Anyway, if you've made it this far in the video, go ahead and leave a ball of yarn and or knitting needles. I think those emojis exist. I hope those emojis exist, because we are again paying homage to the bright green ball of yarn and or yellow ball of yarn, depending on who you are. I don't really think I have anything else to add. If you haven't gone and watched Rachel's video, again, it should be linked in the comment section down or in the description down below. If it is not, please let me know immediately. And I will try to timestamp things, but it is what it is. Yeah, what else have I got to say? I don't think it's. If you guys like long videos, here you go. Thank you to everybody who's been supporting the channel. Thank you to my subscribers. Thank you to my members. You guys rock. Thank you to everybody who's going to hit the thumbs up button. And I will see everybody the next time I do anything about Amber. So, bye.
This is my outro music. You can't copyright strike me because it's just me singing. This is my outro music. Thank you for watching. See you next time.